The internet is rapidly changing the ways we communicate and socialize in today's society. In great contrast to socialization normalities of the past, people are now able to interact with one another without any physical contact. This is due to the ability to use social media outlets such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and many other applications. It can come as a shocker to many how the use of these networks can be more damaging to a person's mental state than expected. There have been many cases of depression related to the use of Facebook in particular. According to L. Labreg's article, Facebook Use Adolescents' Emotional States of Depression, Anxiety, and Stress, college students are the majority of social media users. He did an in-depth study of over 76 students enrolled in the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program in Samar, Philippines, to examine this idea. He used Facebook Intensity Scale, FIS, and the Depression, Anxiety, and Stress Scale, DASS, as the main instruments for the study. His results were that Facebook affects people's well-being. According to Labreg, the findings indicated correlation coefficients of 0.11, 0.07, and 0.10 between FIS and DASS, explaining that time spent on Facebook correlated significantly with depression and anxiety. In summary, his findings were that Facebook use doesn't directly cause negative emotion, but spending time on Facebook increases depression and anxiety scores. An opposing idea to how social media has affected college students is in how it has helped new mothers. In an article by B.T. McDaniel, S.M. Coyne, and E.K. Holmes titled New Mothers and Media Use, Associations Between Blogging, Social Networking, and Maternal Well-Being, it is discussed how social media can help well-being of new mothers by triggering the feelings of connection and emotional support. This is one way that social media has actually helped the mental state of a person. An interesting observation made by Kay Allen in her article titled Tweeting, Texting, and Facebook Posting, Stirring the Pot with Social Media to Make Drama, explains that social media can cause people to be engaged in drama through social interactions online. According to Allen, her findings were that cyber, electronic, and meditated forms of aggression are linked to suicide with youth. Research by C. Yang and B. Brown suggests that the use of social media can also cause complications for college students' ability to adjust to college life and managing social relationships. This is a very important thing for college students because they are learning how to build business relationships. In this study, they recorded the students' motives for using Facebook, their patterns of Facebook activity, and social adjustments to the college setting. They, in quote, also observed that the updating of status was moderated by the motive of relationship maintenance. In an article titled Media Multitasking is Associated with Symptoms of Depression and Social Anxiety, the author, M. Becker, discusses how face-to-face interaction is becoming extinct due to the use of media. This can result in less quality social interactions and, in quote, impaired psychological functioning. He explains that the amount of multitasking in the past decade has increased at an extremely fast rate of 119%. This association can cause poor attention, all control, and poor mental health. According to C. Rutledge, K. Gilmore, and M. Gillen's article titled, Does This Profile Picture Make Me Look Fat? Facebook and Body Image in College Students. 68 to 78% of them are dissatisfied with their body image due to the unrealistic images they see of thin or muscular bodies on Facebook. They studied many aspects of Facebook and its mental effect on people's body image perception. The variables that they considered were how many friends the person has, the amount of time they spend on Facebook, and the emotional investment they have in the site. They also observed the two parts of body image, appearance orientation and appearance evaluation. The results were that the people who were emotionally attached to Facebook were more concerned with appearance. People who had more friends had more positive thoughts about their appearance. In the article, Are You Suffering from E-Isolation? By S. Goodchild, the point is made that although social media and mobile devices are meant to keep us in contact with one another, in reality, these technologies could be pulling us apart. She goes on to talk about psychologist Eric Sigman, who believes that everyone is at risk of personal isolation, which he believes will ultimately hurt our health, explaining that, quote, cyber-socializing, end quote, could change how our bodies function. He says that everyone needs to cuddle to counteract depression and develop trust, which is only possible when interacting physically with another person. He also points out that e-socialization is causing sleeping issues for many. The author talks about ways to end e-isolation, with examples such as not taking your device to bed, learning how to sit in silence, and writing someone a letter. This is important because it uses the right side of our brain, whereas the left brain is used for emailing. In 2009, a journalist named Nancy Shute interviewed neuroscientist John Casapio for an article titled Prescription, Don't Be Lonely. Casapio also supports the idea that staying connected to others socially is important for good health. He describes it as, in quote, a balm for your heart, stress level, and your immune system, end quote. Explaining that loneliness can be measured by levels of stress hormones, immune function, and cardiovascular function. He points out that people who are lonely drink more, exercise less, lose sleep, and it can also trigger premature aging. However, his idea of how social media connections play into this is somewhat different from the previously mentioned ideas. He believes that it is how a person uses this media to communicate rather than that it is overall causing isolation. He explains that if it is used as a substitute to physical interaction, then it can cause increased loneliness. But for example, if a disabled person who is physically unable to leave home can use it, then social media can have the opposite effect, allowing for a person to feel connected. An article titled Underage on Facebook, written by S. Dominus, talks about the possible effects that Facebook might have if the age limit policy was even lower than its current 13 years old. In her research, she questioned many children, one by the name of Rachel Simmons. She describes using Facebook as a 12-year-old as not so much, quote, introducing insecurities, but as amplifying the ones already there, end quote. Explaining that girls are being exposed to many, quote, anxiety triggers, end quote. The writer goes on to question whether or not parents should let their children under the age of 13 use Facebook. But the fact of the matter is that if the policy is required for the child to be 13, then the parent should follow this guideline. Altogether, it is safe to say that staying connected with people and having an in-person social life will contribute to a more healthy life and mental state. If the use of social media is substituting physical connections for e-communication, this will make a person more susceptible to experiencing loneliness and therefore should be identified as a mentally unhealthy environment. If more people were informed of these risks, it could raise awareness of the idea to spend more time physically with others. The saying, everything is okay in moderation, is very relevant to this topic because if a person uses social media to arrange an in-person gathering, then it is being used in a way that keeps a person connected as well as physically interacting with others. The way that technology is advancing is incredible. It is now up to us to identify the most beneficial ways to adapt to these technologies.